walked into my advisor's office in 1958, he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "I'm going to major in aeronautical engineering." He says, "Girls can't be engineers." And I said, "Well, yes, I can." And I spent a lot of time flying. I was very interested in flying, and I got several pilot's licenses while I was here. So I had a tough time because not only was the coursework difficult, but I was taking a lot of hours because of doing all this flying. So anyway, but I was making it through, and then I discovered boys. And the semester when I was a junior that I got engaged, my grades went from a 3.5 to a 1.2. Got out of engineering and majored in journalism. Got a degree in journalism because it was the fastest thing I could do. And became a technical writer with McDonnell Aircraft. After a year of that, I went back to OU and finished the what was then the aerospace engineering degree. So I had a very interesting set of experiences at OU. Oh, well, I went to work for the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California, and I went to work there in 1966 to work on a Mars program. It was going to send a mission to Mars, land on Mars in 1971. So I got my master's degree at night school, which JPL required me to do. And just as I finished my master's degree in 1968, the Mars program was canceled. So I went with a small company for 6 months, and then I got back with JPL. I got into systems engineering, and I worked in systems engineering. I worked on an automated drug identification machine, and then I came back to the space business, and I was the mission analyst on Mariner 10, which went to Venus and Mercury in 1973 and 74. And anyway, my career went back and forth. So even though I was at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory for 32 years, I worked on a whole panoply of different things. And aerospace is a very systems-oriented degree anyway. So there was enough diversity in it that I was able to do these systems engineering jobs. And in the 70s, I worked on alternate energy. I worked on solar energy and geothermal energy. In the 80s, I was the leader of the robotic program at JPL. So we looked at robots, particularly rovers, to go to other planets and rove around on other planets. So in 1992, I took on a project called the Mars Rover Project, where we had a 25-pound rover that we launched to Mars on a mission called Pathfinder. And this rover was 2 feet long, a foot wide, and a foot and a half wide, and a foot tall. It was called a micro rover, and the rover's name was Sojourner Truth. And Pathfinder landed on Mars July 4th, 1997, and Sojourner Truth got off and roamed around, not very far, went 100 meters in 90 days before the mission ended. Then I was promoted to be the manager of the Mars Exploration Program. Then I worked on, I did look at human missions to Mars. I worked on the space station program in its very early stages. So I was able to be very flexible because of, I think, a lot of had to do with my degree in aerospace engineering at OU. We did a lot of things. We had, in those days, we had a wind tunnel at OU. Yeah, we would put models in it and fly the models. We had different projects. One of the projects that I worked on, a student project, was a ground effects machine. So it's this circular thing that has an engine in it in the middle and has a propeller, and it actually lifts up off the ground. Oh. I was the pilot, so I got to fly this thing around. But it was a lot of fun. And the thing was that we had these projects, and aerospace engineering projects were enormously fun. And today they have the design, build, and fly contest. They have the Sooner Racing Car contest. So many really neat things for students to do that are really great. Working on projects was very helpful to me because my whole career at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory was working on projects. Well, the advice is major in engineering. Engineering is the best thing to major in if you really want to make a contribution to technology, to the economic situation. I mean, the economy is driven by really cool technology, and there's no other major that's going to be more beneficial to the future than engineering. We have a lot of classes in communication, for example, in writing and in speaking, and in working as teams. I was teaching a class here for several years, and it involved working in teams to design robots, and it was really fun. It was Lego robots. There was a contest that they had every year, which was the beard growing contest, to see which person could grow the best beard. And so I entered the beard growing contest because they had a prize for the least beard. And I was disqualified because you had to have shaved the day before the contest, and I didn't shave.